Ladies and gentlemen, we will open this ceremony with a little prayer. May I invite my colleagues to take off their caps. May the spirit of wisdom and mercy grow and blossom in all of us. Please be seated, ladies and gentlemen. Dear Excellency, distinguished guests, dear colleagues, including professors, of course, the members of the scientific staff, the members of the support staff, and of course, last but certainly not least, our students. Welcome to the opening ceremony of the academic year 2016. I hope you all enjoyed the summer break and recovered from last year's efforts. I especially would like to welcome the freshmen and women, students who are with us here for the first time and who started their educational programs at Tilburg University last week. I wish you all the best with your studies, and I hope you will enjoy student life in Tilburg to the max. Today's theme for the opening is Digital Society, a theme that is addressed by all universities in the Netherlands to stress the importance of digital innovation in the daily fabric of our universities, including the main processes being education, research, and knowledge utilization. And we do this in order to contribute significantly to the advancement of society in a coherent manner. For Tilburg University, ladies and gentlemen, digital innovation is high up on our agenda. Important developments in the year ahead are the Education Bazaar, which will take place on September 15, where ICT and rich education will be discussed in depth. And later this year, we will formally open the Jeroen Academy of Data Science, a joint effort with the University of Eindhoven in Den Bosch. And certainly we will embark in the second half of this year on a strategy development process for this university to determine our directions for the years to come. And there will be a strong emphasis in this respect on digitization. Some of you, ladies and gentlemen, may have followed the news. And it was reported that Tilburg University suffers from an acute housing shortage for international students. And I'm happy to inform you that the problem has been addressed appropriately and that our support staff has been able to accommodate most of the students in need and to give them a home. In relation to this, our warmest thanks go to all residents of Tilburg who have opened their hearts for our students, and we have been told that the accommodations they offer range from rooms to garden homes, and in the week to come, the entire problem will be solved. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I would now like to start the official program. We will do this by showing you an impression of student life here in Tilburg. As we always say in the Netherlands, a picture can tell more than 1,000 words, so imagine what a movie can do with you. Have a very nice and entertaining afternoon.
Society, constantly changing, ever evolving, just like us. But which direction do we take? What are the key issues? Economic, social, political, environmental, legislative. How do the choices we make affect our complex social structures? How do we even begin to understand society? At Tilburg University, we believe in a society where all people live a good life together in an ever-changing world. And we believe we have a responsibility to make this happen. By being present and making an impact right in the heart of society. By cooperating with businesses, institutions, governments, and the public domain. By doing research in the fields of economics and business, law and governance, social and behavioral sciences, and humanities and theology. The outside world is our living laboratory. We inspire our students to become world citizens, to develop and share new ideas and solutions, to make a difference and to advance society. We aim to ask the right questions. We search for the right balance between ethics and economic progress.
A very important question for society is how firms allocate capital. How do you make a decision as a CEO? What we bring to the table is world-class thinking into answering these questions.
To do multidisciplinary research that contributes to vital answers, that helps organize healthcare to improve the quality of our lives.
How can we help patients to improve their quality of life? What would be the best follow-up care for cancer survivors? It's our ambition to improve quality of life for all cancer patients.
To find the most effective ways to utilize new technologies.
Do we need new forms of democracy, of new forms of governance using big data? Can't we come up with new solutions more appropriate for the 21st century?
Maybe companies have to overlook their code of conduct and include a part on big data and privacy.
And to create opportunities for social innovation.
Young people have so much to offer. So how can we better include them in the labor market? What could be the solution? We created a work experience scheme with good results.
So if we look at these labor migrants, what is actually the problem? What do they get paid? How many hours do they have to work? Maybe a corporate social responsibility toolkit for employers is a solution.
This is why every day over 12,000 students and more than 2,000 scientists and staff members come to Tilburg University, each of them contributing their own piece of the puzzle to our mission, understanding society.
Thank you, Rector Emile. A very warm welcome to you all to this opening of the academic year. And a special welcome to Your Excellencies, Minister, Ambassadors, Bishops, representatives of the province, of the European Parliament, Deputy Mayors, members of our Supervisory Board, and our colleague, the President of the University of Liberia. Last but most certainly not least, a very warm welcome to all researchers, support staff, teachers, and students. You're mainly over there, right? Yes. In this opening of the academic year, this beautiful tradition, our students feature prominently. It is for you, our students in particular, the generation of the future, that today I will talk about our upcoming lustrum next year and the importance of our still relevant slogan, Understanding Society. the crucial role of the humanities for science and society, and also about the inevitable need to join forces in the region to solve so-called wicked problems. In this regard, I have important news for you, so don't fall asleep. There is no reason to fall asleep whatsoever, because our program today consists of the attendance and keynote speech by Minister Dijsselbloem, a man who knows so much about wicked problems himself, as President of the Eurogroup and as Minister of Finance. Like the universities, you are confronted daily with complex societal and economic issues that need to be addressed. And it is for this reason that I am delighted that you are here with us today to share your experiences and insights. Of course, your agenda is full in these days ahead of the last Prinsjesdag of your cabinet and with the upcoming elections. And yes, we are very curious to see what you will have in your briefcase for the so important domain of research and teaching. Will the next government make research and education a key issue? We understand that you cannot say very much about it right now, but I would like to give you some advice today if you allow me to do so. In short, ladies and gentlemen, in the next 15 minutes, I have news for the students and the employees. News of importance to the Netherlands and especially to the south of the Netherlands. In May of 1926, governors Van Gils and Thomas Goossens of the Roman Catholic Leergangen, later to become Fontys University of Applied Sciences, invited Martinus Kopenhagen to discuss the foundation of a commercial college in Tilburg. The rest is history. 89 years of it, with the 90-year lustrum coming up next year. A historic occasion that we will celebrate extensively together. Kopenhagen would have been proud of you, our present generation of students. It's a conclusion that I draw from a text that he wrote, which can be read in a collection of essays that we have published this year, and which includes a veiled reference to the eternal student. It translates as follows: those who are studying should be well aware that being a student should not become a kind of profession, but it should entail being active in day-to-day commercial practice. Outreach avant la lettre, maybe. At this university, one would think eternal students are a dying breed, as I am sure our students here would agree, or wouldn't you? Kopenhagen also wrote, and I'm quoting once again in translation, what a person is higher than which he knows. This should not be forgotten in assessing the chances of success in practice. The search for meaning is an eternal one. In the 90 years that have passed, our student population has grown from 150 to 13,000. And our societal role, inspired by our religious principles, has likewise evolved. A role that is expressed in our slogan, Understanding Society. It is not for nothing that ours is preeminently a university of the social sciences and humanities. Why, you might wonder, take you on this stroll down memory lane, if not for the purpose of arriving in the here and now? Jean Block, Chancellor of UCLA and a professor of neurobiology, in the Dutch financial newspaper Financieel Dagblad, was recently quoted as saying that more than ever now, the undervalued humanities are necessary to solve the world's problems. Block is particularly worried about the worldwide marginalization of the study of philosophy, literature, religion, art, history, and linguistics. He correctly identifies a very sensitive issue, and like us, he believes that societally complex problems are best addressed by intelligent combinations of hard sciences and the humanities, alpha, gamma, and beta. It is no wonder, therefore, as Block observes, that the best universities in the world, such as Cambridge, Harvard, Yale and Tokyo, are precisely those that also have the very best faculties of both hard sciences and humanities. Having both of these strongly represented is the best way to ensure broadly trained students that can bring about social and societal innovation. Students that can effectively apply technology in a complex social environment. The work done by Professor Volberda of Erasmus University in Rotterdam tells us that successful innovation is 25% technology-driven and 75% socially driven. Universities these days are subject to great changes. What was it again that we were put on this earth for, ladies and gentlemen? This is something we need to ask ourselves continuously. It is something that society continuously demands we should ask ourselves. The debate on the issue seems to have gone silent again, but we have long since ceased to be the ivory tower we once were. The ivory tower that Rector of Utrecht University, Bert van der Zwaan, reminds us of in his 2016 Dies speech. He says, the ivory tower was the source that in freedom could produce scientific daydreams of black holes, of the inside of the earth or the human brain, even if the work there was poorly remunerated and conditions often were very bad. Nowadays, he continues, we operate at the very heart of society. We are flooded by students and we are confronted with a government that is increasingly withdrawing, also financially. Utrecht University, like many others, wants to be an outward-looking organization, wants to know what is going on in the world and what the demands of society are. And like Utrecht, we have also included in our strategy this close connection to the world around us. Smart combinations of disciplines, schools, and even universities in intelligent ecosystems, such as we are currently developing in the city of Den Bosch around data science, these combinations are the way to the future, the way of the future, to tackle those so-called wicked problems. It is no coincidence that innovative, internationally oriented programs like global law, global management of social issues, data science, and our newly created university college are attracting so much interest from you, our students. With the exception of data science, which by its very nature already is at the forefront of interdisciplinary developments, the appeal and scope of the first two examples would become even stronger by more emphatically including technological innovations and hard sciences. Admittedly, the humanities partly have themselves to blame for the current situation. From my own personal observation, I have concluded that there has been, also on our campus, too much resistance for too long against educational innovations, against adopting true widespread interdisciplinary approaches, against e-humanities. But we are on the right track now. The new initiatives I just mentioned are examples of this. Urban economist Ed Glaeser, in his work, has shown that the power of a geographical region lies in knowledge institutions, as is the case in Silicon Valley, which shows us the way of the future in having superb educational institutions and by continuing to invest in its schools and universities. According to Glaeser, and I agree fully, the single best way to create a smart city is to create schools that attract and train able people. Education is a prerequisite for economic growth. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we ought to take a step forward and follow Bloch's example. I think we ought to take a step forward and actually put Glaeser's research into practice in the south of the Netherlands as well. I want to take a step forward and heed the desire at the political level and in society at large to join the forces available in our region and to bring about more and better connections between them. These ideas and desires are palpable, and I'm convinced that there is wide support for them at this university, and that great urgency is felt with regard to their realization. What if we had a chance to take an extra step forward in the development of our sciences and to give further substance to understanding society by joining the forces in the south of the Netherlands in a big way? I would advocate more smart combinations to be forged from the institutions of higher education in our cities and in the south of the Netherlands at large. With smart combinations in higher education, we can improve our research and teaching, we can improve our access to funding, we would seriously rise in international rankings, we would be far more efficient with our public means, and our international outreach and attractiveness to talent would benefit enormously. Companies would be more interested in our collaboration with hard sciences and the humanities, but also the universities of applied sciences, present here today, will be able to work interdisciplinary on wicked problems. In short, what I am advocating is a university of the southern Netherlands with various campuses. A lively, innovative ecosystem of the universities of applied sciences and other knowledge institutions. It is for this reason that I invite all our colleagues and administrators to seriously investigate the great opportunities that we have. Your Excellency, I would like to cut to the chase and get straight to the point in view of the formation of a new cabinet in the spring next year. Investments in research and development from government as well as business have been declining for years. This is slowly killing this country's economic and innovative power, and it's a trend that needs to be reversed. Firstly, we need to invest in research itself, which first and foremost means making more room and money available for young researchers. After all, they are the talents of the future. Secondly, we need to invest in research infrastructure. Investments should, in my view, be divided over the clusters currently emerging in Dutch higher education. The cooperation of the universities of Leiden, Delft and Rotterdam, both the Amsterdam universities and the technical universities. To be able to demand a sufficiently big piece of the pie in this clustering, serious cooperation in the south of the Netherlands is essential. Hence my plea for a university of the southern Netherlands. It will make new and extra investments possible. Investments that in turn will make it possible to improve research and education and solve societal problems. Thirdly, I think we need to invest in internationalization, international alliances for regional and global issues. To go into any detail here would make my speech too long, so for more information I refer to our strategic plan. Investments can also be theme-driven. At our university, 3 themes are clearly emerging. Those of data sciences, health, and the resilient society. We consider to choose these themes in our new strategic plan in line with the national science agenda. Today, as Emile already said, the Dutch universities will launch a plan for the digital society. In the years to come, the Dutch universities, together with knowledge partners, government, and companies, want to be at the forefront of digitalization as a pioneer in people-oriented information technology. This ambition is closely connected to the national science agenda and the call by the Dutch employers to invest substantially in digitalization. Here, combining social and technological innovation is an absolute necessity. It means you need to invest in both types of innovation, which means that we need to build a fully integrated ecosystem in the south of the Netherlands to realize these ambitions. Cooperation, cooperation, cooperation. I can't say it enough. The power of cooperation in Brabant is what laid the groundwork for the success of Brainport, for instance. The foundations that were born from cooperation are foundations that can be built on, also in the years to come. In the speech I held at the Copenhagen Summit a few years ago, I said, it is clear that our enterprising Brabant region is successful in many ways. A case in point being our cooperation with the business community, knowledge institutions and local governments. Of course, we should enjoy our successes, but we should also stay alert and not lose momentum. I have noticed that many of you feel the need to boost the region's power once more. Many initiatives are being put in motion. I truly believe that in the near future this region can make much more of a difference in Europe and throughout the world. Being highly entrepreneurial, this is a task that many of us take seriously. I am availing myself of the opportunity to bring forward the need for a much more focused and comprehensive strategy for the region on education and innovation. As Glazer points out, investments in all sectors of education are the best way to improve the economy. What I envision is a university with different campuses and an international focus, firmly embedded in a strong region of the country, with a crisp and clear, sharp profile. That is why I would like to end this opening speech today with a concrete proposal for the foundation of a university of the Southern Netherlands. An international network university with campuses in Brabant and Limburg. The universities of applied sciences will be fully part of this ecosystem. The research conducted and the educational programs and courses offered will be geared to each other and facilities can be shared. Ladies and gentlemen, on October 1st, I'm starting on my second term as President of the Executive Board. Having absorbed, in a manner of speaking, the university in my first term of office, I would now like to share with you my conviction that we can make something really great happen here in the South. It's an inspiring idea, the necessity of which is plausible, considering the choices that need to be made in the light of the higher education strategy for research, for education, for funding and for rankings. A necessity as well for you students. I already addressed you specifically at the start of my speech. A necessity enabling us to give you and future generations the best that can be offered. And since we are lucky enough to have the minister here with us today, he can take the idea with him to The Hague, together with the urgent call to invest in education and research. The realization of these ideals would allow us to truly make the digital society, where people really matter, a reality, and to do even more to meet the great human challenges of energy, climate change, water, healthcare, urbanization, data, and so on. I thank you very much for your kind attention. And I would now like to give the floor to a very special guest. And her name is Robin.
Hallo, wie ben jij?
Hallo, ik ben Megan.
Hoi Megan. Ik ben Robin van de Tilburg University en ik ga jou in het Engels leren tellen. Zeg mij maar na. 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3.
Wauw, goed gezegd. Weet jij wie ook vaak in het Engels telt? Eurogroepvoorzitter Jeroen Dijsselbloem. Jeroen Dijsselbloem is vandaag hier te gast om het academisch jaar te openen. Dames en heren, graag introduceer ik minister Dijsselbloem. Geef hem een hartelijk applaus.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. President, thank you. Thank you for the trust you place in me. Thank you for thinking that I will play an important part in the next formation of a government. And thank you for thinking this will be my last budget, meaning that the formation will be short. Ladies and gentlemen, I was born 50 years ago, not far from here, in this region. It was a time when Philips was still synonymous with light bulbs, when globalization meant eating Chinese food, in my family, once a year, and when meeting people from abroad meant talking to Belgians or Germans. It was a time when Tilburg University had just opened its law faculty, when hula hoop was still an attraction, and when Lans Bovenberg was only 6 years old. And look at where we are now. I'm talking to you in English today, not as a statement. You may have noticed that there is a interesting public debate about the use of English at universities. It's not a statement, it's for practical reasons. 15% of your students and half of your PhDs is from abroad, and globalization is moving on. And Tilburg University is moving on with it. Your university belongs to the top of the world in social sciences and more specifically in economics. And what's more, I had here 12,000 students, but the president just said 13, so I will correct myself. We're working towards 13,000 students, almost 300 PhD candidates, and nearly 900 researchers, lecturers, and professors have a shared goal to solve problems in society. And you do this in refreshing ways. This summer, for instance, your university invited 35 Syrian refugees to learn about Dutch corporate culture so as to boost their chances of getting a job. And I can't tell you how pleased I was to read about this initiative. If we zoom out and we look at the region, if we look at Brabant, that future is also looking strong. Eindhoven still ranks as the smartest region in the world, and last year Tesla opened its first factory outside the US in Tilburg. If we move up yet another level, our national economy is also doing better. From a macroeconomic point of view, the Netherlands has made great strides since the crisis. Our national debt is shrinking, unemployment rates are finally going down, and after years of decline, the housing market, which contributed so strongly to our prolonged recession, is picking up again. What's more, the Netherlands scores very well in international rankings. The Dutch economy is the 5th most competitive in the world, after Switzerland, Singapore, the US, Germany, beating Japan, China, and the UK. Our infrastructure is among the best of the world, especially by road and water, and this elevated roundabout for bicycles shows just that. We are also one of the internet hubs of the world, with the 2nd highest online connectivity and the most competitive internet market. For those of you wondering where it is in Eindhoven. If you factor in performance indicators of well-being, like life expectancy, health, literacy, or educational standards, the Netherlands emerges as the 4th most prosperous country in the world. We rank 5th on the Human Development Index of the United Nations, and to top it all, according to UNICEF, the Netherlands is the best place in the world to live if you are a child. There was a little child somewhere there. Good for you. Now, if you hear all this, you may be tempted to think that if only Kees Notenboom were to win the Nobel Prize of Literature, we'd have it all done. And of course, that's not the case. Even though we compare favorably to many other countries, we still have challenges to tackle. Why do we rank so high on all these lists? Yes, we have excellent infrastructure. Yes, we have good institutions. And yes, our country is in a fine position for trade. But we're also a country that tries to provide everyone with equal opportunities for education, income, and wealth. And today I would like to focus on these equal opportunities, because we should not let our high international rankings lure us into false sentiment of accomplishment. We have one of the highest employment rates in the world. But that doesn't really help the 541,000 Dutch men and women without a job at this moment. So for a more nuanced perspective, we need to take a closer look at our society. And then perhaps the picture becomes less rosy. The Netherlands Institute for Social Research, SCP, recently wrote, "To get ahead in the Netherlands, you need economic capital, such as income and wealth, but also other forms of capital like education, a good position on the labor market, physical and mental health, and a high-quality personal network." So the question is, can everyone get ahead in the Netherlands? And the answer is no. Several organizations, including the OECD and the Dutch Inspectorate of Education, have also warned us for a growing opportunity divide. Now, how is this possible in one of the most equal countries in the world? In the Netherlands, we have a progressive tax system and a social security system that distributes income and wealth quite evenly and effectively. Equal distribution is also the ground for the passionate discussions about purchasing power. In Dutch, het koopkrachtplaatje. We have this every year preparing for the new budget. And as a consequence, because we have that kind of discussion every year, roughly 70% of all Dutch men and women are, according to the SCP, relatively well off. But the remaining 30% still runs the risk of being excluded. Half this group is classified as the insecure employed. These are medium-educated people on low incomes who are frequently unemployed. The other half of the group consists of those who already lag behind. This is the terminology of the SCP. These people have the lowest income, wealth, and education. They lack good networks and have more physical and mental problems. Women, the elderly, and Dutch with a non-Western background are overly represented in this group. This bottom 30% runs the highest risk of falling victim to the opportunity gap. And this opportunity gap manifests itself in many ways. If you're included, for example, you're likely to live more than 7 years longer and enjoy good health more than a decade longer than the excluded. The included divorce less, have a richer social life, live in better, healthier and safer houses, and have better access to information. You can even speak of a digital divide. The excluded are more pessimistic about the future, about Europe and about globalization than the included. And they have reason to be, because they run a greater risk of unemployment, poor health, poverty and social isolation. Harvard professor Robert Putnam writes about this issue in his book, Our Kids. He was focusing on the US, of course, where the social divide is much more visible than in the Netherlands. But his book shows clearly what a deep opportunity divide can do to any country. It harms the economy, creates political unrest, and makes a whole generation of kids feel inadequate through no fault of their own. And I would like to add that there is a correlation between people feeling excluded and the rise of populism, something we are seeing in the US as well as Europe. So we have to ask ourselves two questions. What causes the opportunity gap, and what can we do to close it? Everyone in the Netherlands, regardless of socio-economic background, has access to schools. And in its most recent State of the Education, the Dutch Inspectorate of Education warned about those who are being excluded and the dangers of a downward spiral. It turns out that children with highly educated parents have increasingly more opportunities than children whose parents haven't had much education. According to the Inspectorate, there are several causes. Highly educated parents are more involved in their children's education. They are more informed about school choice and more active in getting their children into the best schools. They're more alert and able to send their children to homework tutors and extracurricular trainers. Teachers also play a role. They often have higher expectations of children of highly educated parents and lower expectations of children with lower educated parents, regardless of the intelligence or abilities of the children in question. As Putnam puts it, there is a creeping pessimism about the chances for upward mobility for the next generation. Children who don't have the same opportunities to get good education stand, of course, less chance of getting a good job. Most new jobs require skilled workers, and this will apply even more in the future. On top of that, new technological fields like robotics may even eliminate the need for certain low-skilled jobs. A 2015 study of the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, concluded that technological progress is a major factor in the increase of inequality. Or, as economists Jeffrey Sachs and Lawrence Kotlikoff write, smart machines now check us out at stores, take our blood pressure, massage our backs, give us directions, answer our phones, print our documents, transmit our messages, rock our babies, read our book, turn on our lights, shine our shoes, guard our homes, fly our planes, write our wills, teach our children, kill our enemies, and the list goes on. Moreover, robots may increase the gap in another way. As economist David Autor argues, wages for highly educated workers with special skills will go up faster than wages for the medium and less educated. So even if the tide rises for everyone, it won't lift up all boats to the same height. And this again widens the gap between the included and the outcluded. So we have a double challenge ahead of us. First, we need to stay ahead of the curve. We have to be smarter and more innovative to keep benefiting from globalization and technological progress. Secondly, we need to rebalance the distribution of the pros and cons of globalization and technological development. The winners and the losers are drifting apart, and it has to be stopped. It's about opportunities for all. And it is about investing more in people, preventing them from falling behind. It's about remaining one society, which in my mind is the big issue. And for that, we need all the help we can get from the academic world. Of course, an equal distribution of income, wealth, and opportunities leads to a relatively equal society. And education is the key to combating inequality. According to the OECD, many policies entail a double dividend as they reduce income inequality while at the same time boosting long-run GDP per capita. Examples include making educational potential less dependent on personal and social circumstances. Every year, the OECD publishes Education at a Glance, its yearly report on education in developed countries. During the financial crisis, the OECD was alarmed to note that in some countries, including the UK and the US, spending on education had dropped significantly over the course of the crisis. A matter of wrong priorities and short-sightedness. Now, after the crisis, I'm pleased to see, at least in the Eurozone, on average, education budgets have suffered relatively little and are increasing again for coming out of the crisis. In the Netherlands, the amount we spent on education per student has actually gone up during this government. But focusing only on the quantity of public investment is not enough. In the Eurogroup, we also regularly discuss the quality of public spending. And one of the issues we touched upon is education. When we look at the quality of education within our region, we see big differences between countries. Italy and Portugal, for example, spend as much on education as Finland, calculated as a percentage of GDP. Yet while Italy and Portugal only achieve average scores in comparative assessments, Finland has the highest scores in the European Union. Some countries manage to deliver more for the same amount of money, and these countries should be our examples. In the Netherlands, we also have to look at the quality of our education. As you may remember, I was chairman of the committee in 2008 that reviewed the overhaul of our educational system in the 90s. This committee concluded that many of these reforms were ineffective, and the way they were designed and implemented did quite a lot of damage. This was partly because many of its elements had not been scientifically tested and not been not proven to work beforehand. So I was pleased this year with the report by the Netherlands Bureau of Economic Policy Analysis, CPB, called Promising Education Policy. This report was a direct answer to the call for more proven, effective innovation in education. The CPB concluded that our system could improve in several ways. For example, by investing more in the training and coaching of teachers, specifically on social skills. Most importantly for now, however, the CPB advised that more should be done for children who run behind at school, which, not coincidentally, are often children hit by the opportunity gap. In fact, research suggests that kids with highly educated parents go up a few intelligence points during summer holidays, while kids with low educated parents drop a few points. And we have to counter that effect. One example of an investment on that particular topic, an investment that helps, according to the CPB, are summer schools. Extra school time for kids that otherwise would have to repeat the whole year is a very effective way to support those kids and to improve their opportunities. And my colleague, the Minister of Education, will in 2 weeks' time announce extra investments in equal opportunities in education. We also have to increase the adaptability of our economies to make sure that people are not sidelined by trends like technological innovation or immigration, and that we all have the chance to reap the benefits of globalization. We need a highly skilled labor force to compete in tomorrow's economy. The European Investment Bank, of which the finance ministers are the governors, invested almost 14 billion euros in 2014 in Europe's young people. In the Netherlands, for example, the EIB invested 15 million euro this year for research and development in the company of Erik de Bruin, alumnus of the Tilburg University, that makes 3D printers. After 6 years, this company now employs 200 people. The project of the EIB has two aims. First, smaller new companies should get better access to finance and thus stimulate innovation and job creation. Second, it wants to improve the employability of young people without jobs by increasing their skills through education and training. From its launch in 2013 to the end of 2014, the initiative has supported jobs of roughly 800,000 young people throughout Europe. Another way to increase the number of jobs is by reducing the taxes on labor, particularly the tax wedge, which means the difference between the net income earned by the employee and the total cost of labor for the employer. Almost all countries in the euro area have a tax wedge that's higher than the OECD average. In fact, I think the only example is Ireland, but I won't go into the details of the tax policies in Ireland. This very high tax wedge obstructs our efforts to boost growth and create jobs. But we are making progress in this area. In the Eurogroup, we've set a benchmark against which we measure our tax wedge performance. Together with sharing best practices, this encourages reforms and reductions in the tax burden on labor in our member states. The Netherlands did this with the 5 billion tax reduction package last year, mainly aiming at the bottom half of the labor market. Starting next year, we will introduce the low-income tax credit for employers who take on employees in the lowest wage scales. A number of Eurozone countries like Spain, Austria, Belgium and others are doing the same. Lowering the tax wedge doesn't just foster economic growth and employment. If designed well, it also reduces income inequality. It's also important that people who lose their jobs due to globalization or technological advances can find new jobs. Fortunately, technological process also leads to the creation of all sorts of new kind of jobs. Research by former World Bank chief economist Justin Lin shows that new job titles account for a large part of employment creation in the US. Think of jobs like app developer, graphic designer, or IT system administrator. But at the same time, we need to make it easier for people to access these jobs. Too often, regulated professions operate as a kind of closed shop, creating just another boundary between insiders and outsiders. In Europe, more than 1,000 professions in different countries are regulated and protected. We can open up a large number of these jobs for young people. Sure, some professions require strict qualifications and protection by national governments, but do chimney sweeps, notaries, bouncers, I could go on for a long time. As many of you know, studying abroad has great academic advantages, but it also helps to break down the mental barriers to working in another country. So we encourage students to study abroad for a while, for example, with the Erasmus program. In Eindhoven, the international community is now growing so fast that the government will present proposals on budget day, so Eindhoven can adapt its services, like schools, to support its successful international economic development. Also, we are determined to improve the financing of new, successful companies and some of the big transitions needed, for example, related to climate change and sustainable energy. And before the end of the year, we will put forward proposals for a new Dutch investment institute. So far, I've talked about measures to make sure we're all prepared for the future labor market. But it's equally important that we keep innovative. This brings me to the academic world. I've already talked about robots and how they can impact the opportunity gap. But this is no reason to object to robots or to robotics. Those who think we should get rid of robots should remember this. We don't want to rise against robots, we want robots to help us rise. And that is exactly what you've been doing here at Tilburg University. Your Center for Cognition and Communication has been working with other universities and with the support of private investment and the European Committee, developed, I should say it in a phonetic way, El Tutor. El Tutor is a robot that helps kids learn languages, and this is great. But it becomes even better when we consider that acquiring other languages is crucial in a globalized world. And since small children are basically information sponges that walk funnily, they can absorb a second language at an early age. They can absorb a second language at an early age before school, even if their parents don't speak that language. Imagine what a robot could achieve in the space of a summer. Now, of course, you don't all build robots, and I'm not telling you to drop your research in economy, econometrics, and to start to build a new WALL-E, R2-D2, or the next Iron Man. Simply be the best in your particular field. I know Schumpeter is quite the rage at the moment. Everyone is looking for the next thing that will disrupt the old and usher in the new. But the reality, as you know, is that the house built by scientific progress is laid one brick at a time. So those of you who research pension systems, make sure we have all the state-of-the-art, insanely complex calculations we need to keep our pension system the best of the world. And those of you who study macroeconomics, build even more advanced models that improve our understanding of the effects of fiscal policy. Those of you who study behavioral economics, figure out in even more detail how people respond to incentives, so we structure our economies and financial markets to stimulate good and prevent bad behavior. Because this is what you do best at Tilburg University. You carry out research at the most advanced level, but always with a view on how society can benefit from your findings. And please keep up the good work. As I hopefully made clear at the beginning, the Netherlands is doing better. In fact, it's doing quite well according to international rankings. But these rankings tell us little about the risks and challenges for the future. So let's not sit back. Ever since the Olympics in Rio, it's not very hard to imagine how we should deal with this. Take Anna van der Breggen, who won a gold medal only last month. Do you know what she did the day after she won? She got back on her bike and trained. She didn't stop. She keeps preparing for the future. And I think in that sense, she sets the example for us. So let's prepare. There are known and unknown challenges ahead. One that is staring us right in the face is the growing opportunity gap in our Western societies, and the Netherlands is no exception. It may create a new divide between highly educated and low-skilled workers, between old and young, between insiders and outsiders. It brings unease, polarization, and feeds into populism. But making the right policy choices matters, and you matter. We can combat opportunity inequality by creating jobs, by improving opportunities in our schools, by triggering new investments, by keeping people in touch with the labor market, and by having academics who invent robots that talk to kids. Thank you very much.
All right. Good afternoon. I've been asked to guide you through the second part of this program. As you see, I'm away from this thing, so it will be a bit different. It's an honor for me to stand in front of you, Your Excellencies, my former teachers, I see, my former colleagues, and of course, fellow students. In the second part, we will have a look at entrepreneurial thinkers, and Minister Dijsselbloem already talked about Erik de Bruin. Today he's our guest of honor. He's actually here with his family. I've seen him. I will talk to him for a while, and together we will eventually choose the best entrepreneurial student initiative of this year. My name is Jeroen. I'm a digital entrepreneur. I studied economic psychology at this university, but it's a long time ago. It's great to be back, by the way. So I would love to introduce our guest of honor to you, and not only our guest of honor, but also our Rector Magnificus, to talk about this beautiful machine that's standing here. It's all about 3D printing. It's the Ultimaker. So can I have a warm welcome to Erik de Bruin, and of course our Rector Magnificus, Emile Aarts. Take a seat, take a seat. So, Eric, take a seat, please, next to your machine. Very good. So, I remember it's 2011. 3D printing doesn't exist. And you thought, well, I'll start working with it. Why? How do you come up with such an idea?
Well, if you look really close, then, and if you're really passionate about it, you actually see that some people are already working on it in a very early stage. And that's sort of the innovator stage. And I was lucky to find people with the same passion through the internet, and it allowed me to build on top of some steps they've made and contribute to it, and take the next couple of steps.
Mm-hmm. And how long did it take to actually develop this thing?
Yeah, there's quite a big story, probably too long, but we just started out with a design that already existed that was made open source, which is a RepRap design, a printer that could actually print the parts to make another one. And then you couldn't just make another one exactly the same, but you could also evolve it and improve it, and also incorporate all of the improvements from people around the world who could also build the same machine, improve it, share that source code basically, and then continue that development. So very much like an evolutionary principle.
Cool, and I can print anything I like.
Basically everything within that space. You could actually, well, if you can imagine it, you can make it. That's what we frequently say. And at the same time, of course, there are limitations, but actually we find that our customers sometimes think that they are not limitations because they think about it differently. They look beyond the box, basically. And if you, just as I've said, you could print within the printer. You can also print outside of the printer. And so some people, one great example is somebody who put the printer upside down, made the print head point outward again, and then print basically on the floor and make the printer lift itself. And so he's made a extension to what we've done, basically thinking completely outside of the box in a literal sense. And he could make complete dinosaurs or complete big elephants in a true scale and print it just in a couple of weeks.
So actually your users are making your product even more innovative. If we look at this beautiful printer and you can print anything you like, what would you love to print?
Oh my gosh, that was not on the list. That is an entirely new question. Wow.
Gotcha.
I have, no. I can think of something. Why don't we print a new logo for this university?
A new logo? It's, yeah, okay, well, can we print a new logo?
Well, by chance, actually, I have a file on the printer. So maybe you'd like to turn it on.
Oh, yes, let's do that.
Okay, so you are going to start the printing process, get together. How does it work? Because you need a cartridge or something, I guess. Let me stand over here.
Yeah, so at the back, that's where the material is held.
Yeah.
And so that's actually what's also coming out of the print nozzle. And so it makes the object layer by layer at a very precise way. Right now, we're going to speed it up a little bit because, well, we need it fast.
Okay, cool.
So,
and you're going to teach our rector how to use a 3D printer.
Yes, I already know, so maybe it's better if you do it.
Well, all right, okay.
What to do?
Basically, you press the button.
Oh, that's my...
Press the button.
Yeah, that's my core competence. There we go.
All right, so tell me, what's happening now?
Right now it's heating up the nozzle.
Yeah.
And I already preheated the build platform, so it's going to start making the object as I described before.
Cool, yeah, I'm waiting for it to do something.
It's at 100 degrees now and it's going up to 200.
It's heating up. Yeah. And what kind of material are you using to print? So what's in the cartridge?
It's a combination of a biodegradable polymer, which is not very biodegradable, but it's technically biodegradable, and bronze. And so that combination, actually, you can polish it and use even copper polish, and then you even get the green stains because it's 80% metal and 20% polymer.
Wow, something is happening. Okay. It's exciting, and this technique has been developed at this university. You must be very proud.
Yes, I'm very, very proud, but the technique as such has not been developed here, as it was explained. It is an extension, so what we see is that this novel development is building up existing developments, and that's the true manner how innovation should proceed.
Cool, well, let this happen. Please take a seat. Because, yeah, please. Eric, you must have printed, how many objects did you print? Do you know? Do you have any idea?
Well, I have a whole wall of printers behind me at the office. So I printed 1,000 objects recently in a couple of weeks.
But there must be one object in particular that you like best.
I think if I have to pick one, then it's this object, not exactly this one, but one like this, which I printed for a child who is missing fingers. And usually, well, children grow up very quickly, and so if they even have access to a prosthetic device that is functional and fit for them, that actually costs a lot of money, and then they outgrow it. So basically, that makes it even less affordable. And so the nice thing about this is that prosthetics that could easily cost about 8,000 euros, you could make them for about 35 euros. Wow. You could print it yourself on a 3D printer. So the beauty of this is that you could actually make the prosthetic grow, and also all the children that get a prosthetic like this, they can actually influence what it is, and not just receive something, but they can be part of that development.
And they become cool, I think, in a way.
Yeah, what I really like is that the children, especially in the Western world, they usually pick something that they actually stand out with, even though before they would keep their hand behind their backs, and now they are special instead of they are different in a bad way.
And you've been studying at this university. Did Tilburg University offer any help when you were start working on this idea?
Yes, there's Starters Lift, which does a lot actually for entrepreneurs. It can house them. It can also provide coaching, and so we've had also this coaching. We've had a lot of discussions, for example, on how to grow our company in a way that would be meaningful, and so I think that's contributed to it as well. Yeah.
Cool. So, thank you, he says, to our university. Entrepreneurship is a hot topic in this university, isn't it?
Yes, it certainly is.
And what do we do to encourage entrepreneurship among students?
Well, we want to create a climate of entrepreneurship so that the young students see that entrepreneurship is important. So the Starters Lift has already been mentioned. It's very successful. It will go into its second phase already this year. But we teach a lot of courses on it. We have a lot of debate and discussions on it. I would like to mention that this year, effectively last week, we started a new development in Den Bosch. It was already mentioned by Koen, and that is a course on data science and entrepreneurship. So even the entrepreneurship is in the name. And they also can already announce that by virtue of Jan Hommen, who is the chairman of our supervisory board, that we will start what we call the CEO talks, and that will be a lively engagement of the top level captains of industry of the Netherlands with the students, and there you can challenge them, and not reversely.
Like a college tour a bit.
Oh, that's only meager.
Oh, it's way better than college tour. Okay, that's inspiring. So, looking at yourself as a rector of this beautiful university, how entrepreneurial are you?
Oh, that was also not on the list. Well, I never had my own company, and maybe getting at the age of 61, I view that as something I should have done, because it gives you truly the feeling what it means. But, well, if you can become a president of the United States at the age of 70, I still see some opportunity for me to do that in the past, or in the last part of my, let's say, professional life. So it is important. And I think that only after you have been in the playfield, you have a right to speak.
Okay, interesting, good. Looking at all those students that are sitting here, what advice could you give them as a successful entrepreneur?
Well, I think one advice is interesting because I was a little bit naive, thinking that it would be easy to make a 3D printer. And I thought I could finish it and do that in a couple of months. But I think it's good to be naive at times and not really know what you're starting out with, because there are a lot of things that you can never know. And you can never know how exciting it will be. And it's really like a roller coaster that you actually have to pedal yourself, which is not going by itself. But and I think as long as you do something that you are really passionate about, then you also have the energy to go through the difficult periods, because you have to do a lot yourself. And then at some point you have to do less yourself, and you have to really appreciate that, because if you find people that are complementary to you, then you should really appreciate that they are different, which is sometimes a little bit harder because you would have a different style or you do things differently. But then it's good to really recognize the differences and build on them, and maybe even go back to what you were originally doing, which was, for me, was inventing. Yeah.
Beautiful advice. I think it's time to honor our guest of honor. I think we have something to give to Erik.
So Wilco, can I invite you to bring the present over here?
It's a chapeau statue.
Yes, it's a small statue, ladies and gentlemen. It's called chapeau, and we all know what that means. We lift our hats for those who have accomplished something we were not able to do. Well, this guy has been doing that. It's an example to you, I hope. And I would like to give it to you. Shake hands, and lots of success in the future. And this is yours.
Is there anything you would like to say to the crowd?
Well, I would say, yeah, I'm very honored.
Very good. That was the idea.
I could use a lot of words, but yeah, it's really nice that this is appreciated. But I should also say that the adventure itself should be rewarding in itself. And I think this is also the credit to a lot of people who've joined this adventure with me. So it's not just for me, but I will keep it somewhere proudly and then tell everybody that they've contributed to it.
You will print a lot of small chapeaus and give them away.
Actually, that's a good idea. I could 3D scan it and make copies.
Yeah, exactly. Can I get one more round of applause for Erik de Bruin and our Rector Magnificus? Please, take a seat. Please be seated. So, That is what can happen after a couple of years. You become a successful entrepreneur making 3D printers. But each year we have beautiful student initiatives on this university as well that are all about entrepreneurship. I would like to invite to the stage Luc van Deutenkom, who is the jury, one of the jurors of, well, they actually made the nominees for who should win this contest. Give him a hand. You forgot. Yeah, he's already here. Take a seat. Take a seat. Cool, Luc, welcome. I just said there are a lot of initiatives, but are there really a lot of initiatives?
Yeah, there were a lot of initiatives we had to choose from. We chose 3 initiatives, and the reason we did choose them is because you could see that they are really ideas that are developed. They contribute not only to society, but also to the students at Tilburg University. And therefore we, as a jury, saw them fitted to be nominated.
Okay. Interesting, we will see them a bit later, of course. You were chosen because you are like the student representative of TGIAC. But there were other members of the jury as well. Who were they?
Koen Becking, and there was also a professor involved in data science.
Data science. And can you tell me how many initiatives did you actually see before choosing those 3?
I think we had about 15 initiatives, and then so it was a hard choice to just select 3 of them.
Okay. Shall we have a look at the first one? Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, then I would love to show you the first nominee of the Best Entrepreneurial Student Initiative.
I graduated 6 months ago, and that was also the moment in time when me and 5 other students here from this university started an IT cooperation called Duodeca.
We built software for companies, and yeah, we try to do that in a smart fashion.
One of our products is indeed in the healthcare sector.
Over the next 40 years, health costs will nearly double. Also, the population of the Netherlands is aging, therefore there's a growing problem, and that is capacity matching in the healthcare industry.
We were looking for a way to obtain data from hospitals in the Netherlands on an automated way.
Together we came to a solution to this problem.
And now we obtain the data, and within 2 or 3 days after the data are here, they are analyzed and they are brought back to the hospitals, and they can see themselves how many people they have to train.
The hospitals can really coordinate their education policy.
For me, entrepreneurship is a state of mind.
We really love what we do.
The work that Duodeca has done for our organization has a meaning for society.
But we also want to be a company that's able to build on our own ideas and bring our own products to market. We are fast, we develop fast, we are quick on our feet.
They worked on time and within the budget.
Our IT makes our world a little bit smarter.
We make sure that the people that are educated are not educated for unemployment.
Ladies and gentlemen, the first nominee, Duodeca, Wouter van Ooyen, please come forward. Welcome, take a seat. Take a seat. I'm triggered by the last thing you say. We make sure that people that are educated are not educated for unemployment. How do you make that sure?
Well, so the government is allocating budget to hospitals each year to make sure that they can educate people. And we make sure that that is distributed equally. So that, for instance, if you have a lot of students in Utrecht, that those students can work in, for instance, Groningen. That's what we did.
Okay, interesting. Very, very good. Great to have you. I have a very important message I just got. If you have to go to the Tilburg University campus at 5:30, you can leave the room via that door. But I have to say to you, it's more inspiring to stay a bit more here. Really. Let's have a look at the second nominee.
Together with my brother and sister, I started the company Jam. Jam is like an online booking platform for companies that allows them to hire temporary employees. But most of our friends worked either in a bar or in a supermarket. But we wanted to make it possible for students to gain work experience in other industries and in other sectors. So that's why we thought like, how would it be to build a platform and then to give students the opportunity to say when they are available and in which industries they would like to gain work experience. This is like being an entrepreneur with impact, and that's what we really like about this kind of entrepreneurship. Currently we are with a team of 10 people, so we have 3 founders and then 7 employees who help us expanding the platform in the rest of the country. We do like the exact opposite of what employment agencies do. So we put supply online instead of demand. For companies, it's a very easy way to hire temporary staff just for a few days or a few weeks. Using the filters and the other options, they can see who's the right match for them, so they make the choice instead of an employment agency, for example. Our website is online every time of the day, so whether it's in the night or in the morning, they can always find the right candidate for their job. Students and youngsters can gain work experience at multiple companies in multiple industries, and that can help them with their study choice. So our goal is to make this available for all students and youngsters in the entire country.
Second nominee, Jam Ruud Schippers. Please come forward, all the way in the back. Welcome to stage. Hi, take a seat. So you thought, let's name my company like marmalade.
Yeah, but that was like, the JAM means like jongere arbeidsmarkt in Dutch. So it's like an employment agency for youngsters. But the thing is, once you start a company, you first get a name and then you start like, oh, let's Google it. And then the first thing you get is the marmalade. So that was our first mistake we made as an entrepreneur. Yeah.
And are you still planning on changing the name of the company?
We've been doing this for like 4.5 years now, so I don't think so. Maybe in the future, but not at this moment, no.
I think you shouldn't. Just keep it. It's good. I want to see the final movie of the third nominee.
I am Richard van Laak and I have a thesis proofreading company for around 4 years now. Our company is Scribber. As a product we offer a thesis proofreading service and we help students to get better writers and we help them with improving their language.
I was not that pleased about my academic writing.
Via the study association I found Scribber and I saw that they could help me and they gave really good advice on my thesis when I uploaded it.
My personal passion as an entrepreneur is the fact that I can combine technique with people, even during the end of June when everybody has to hand in their thesis.
It was really fast. That was really great about it.
Simply help everybody.
It helped me a lot, also with things I didn't even know or didn't even knew that I did wrong.
So I founded Scribber with 2 other guys, and the most important part of our company, of course, are the editors. We now have already over 300 editors in 6 different languages, and we help students from all over the world.
It was really easy to reach them. Yeah, they were really fast also in their communications.
Now the Scribber concept has proven itself in the Netherlands and Germany. We basically want to help students become better writers at a global scale. 4 years from now, we will be in Scandinavia. Because our product is quite scalable, we don't really need to open an office over there, but we want to be where the students are. It will be quite important to find those students at the spots they work, like over here.
For me, it was worth all my money. It really was, because I got so good advice, and especially for the rest of my life, I can use those tips and tricks.
Scribber was the way to do it.
Last but not least, Scribber, Richard van Laak. Hey Richard, take a seat. I think many students are very happy with you and your company, but you must have thought, I love working on my master thesis. Let's start a company that does that the rest of my life. I can work on master theses.
Yeah, that's awesome, right?
I don't know. Did you think it was that great, your master thesis?
Well, actually was the problem why we started the company. So while writing my thesis, I thought, hey, what about my English? Let's make a company for it. And then we found it hard to find editors that could actually help me. And then we made a platform that made sure that we can offer the service we got ourselves to the students all over the world. Actually.
Interesting. And I will have some questions for you, like 1 or 2 questions, very tough ones, just so the crowd can think of who should win the student entrepreneurship initiative of this year. Let's start with Duodeca. Well, a tough one. What would be your dream client in a couple of years?
I guess that's the world. We don't necessarily build software just for companies. We also build applications that are used by consumers themselves. And we just started on a project for the travel community. So we first are going to conquer that market. And who knows?
You conquer the world one by one. Okay. Exactly. Good, good. Scribber, is it legal what you do? Because the idea is that, you know, that students do this themselves and then you have editors that are doing it for them.
That's actually the perfect question. So, what we don't do is help students with their content. We are sure that universities, for example, are there to help students with the content and the whole process. But what we want to help the students with is the part that they do not excel in, so that's the language part. So students are not, the non-native students, they basically cannot do their English really well, for me, for example. So we want to offer them a service that can help them. And the other side is that if they are looking for us, we will always be there, but not only with a paid service, we also help them with articles on actually how to do the academic writing.
All right, well covered, well done. How do you guarantee the quality of the employees that are going to work?
Yeah, that's a good one. Of course, with an online platform, it's very hard to guarantee the quality. What we do is we give like companies the opportunity to give reviews about their students or the youngsters that work for them, and they give like from 1 to 5 stars. They can give like a rating, and we use this rating to level like the availability overview. So the one that's has 5 stars is ranked first, and then that's how we guarantee the quality. Yeah.
Okay, I think that's a great solution. So for all 3 of you, we've been talking about Tilburg University supporting entrepreneurship. If you could give one, this is your chance. You can give one advice to them on how to do it better. What should they do? How can they even encourage entrepreneurship more?
Well, for us, but it was the problem was already partially solved, was it the housing. So we started really bootstrapped, and we didn't have a product that needed a big investment, for example. So we didn't need any funding, but we needed a nice place and people to have a debate with. So I think it's an initiative that actually haven't been mentioned yet. It's the Academic Business Club. They do a really nice job in connecting people with each other. So that's actually the most important part we got over here.
Yeah, interesting. Good. You, what advice can you give them?
I would say start with it in the very first year that you start at the university, because that's when you have like the most time. And when you go like to the 3rd year or the last year of your bachelor, you have less time. You have to focus on graduating. So I would say start with it in the very first year, and
And what should university do? Offer courses, or what should they do?
Well, Startstift has been mentioned already. They coach entrepreneurs. They also organize evenings, just like the Academic Business Club does. So if you focus more on these organizations and make sure that every student in the first year of their bachelor, they know that these organizations are there, I think it helps in getting more people involved into entrepreneurship.
And for you, the golden tip?
At the project we showed in the movie, we had help from an academic expert from Tilburg University. It was a lot of hassle to gain this expertise, and my advice would be to make the expertise from Tilburg University more accessible.
Great. Look at them. Those are your 3 nominees. Yeah. What do you take home of this? You already told me secretly, I'm not that entrepreneurial myself, but when you listen to those stories and the story of Eric, what do you take home?
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We cut this. We cut this part. Yeah.
I think for myself, as you already said, I'm not very entrepreneurial, but I think in the future, if I would have an idea, I should be like Eric, the honorary guest today already said. I should be naive and, as they did, follow your idea and just try and see what happens. And well, seeing that they're on the stage today, they did well.
Yeah, very good. So right now, we're going to do something entirely different. It has never been done before. We've been talking about digital innovation, and we did some digital innovation for this part as well. So we're going to cast our votes, and therefore you will need your mobile phones, your smartphones, grab them out of your suits and stuff, and you go to the website www.oag2016.nl. Yeah, we will show it over here. It's over here. It's www.oag2016.nl. And you can register. You can register as... Does anybody remember this guy? It's Jan Paparazzi. He was, when you didn't put a profile picture on Hives, you got Jan Paparazzi. Yeah, maybe I'm too old, but you got this guy. Okay. So you are on the website. I see many people coming in. That's great. And we will do something entirely different. 20 years ago, we should have used pen and paper or raising your hand to vote. 10 years ago, we started with using clickers and voting systems. And 5 years ago, my company came up with digital voting. So you could vote via your mobile phones. But that wasn't fun. The only fun thing was an applause meter. Do you remember that? That you could make a lot of noise, and the one with the most noise, they won. We've been looking at China, and in China you can cast your vote by shaking your phone. Because shaking your phone says, I like you. So they have a Facebook in China in which they can shake and then you give a vote. That's what we're going to do for these 3 nominees. The harder you shake your phone in a second, the more you like the company or initiative that has been presented to you. This is going to be fun, at least for me. And I hope for you as well. I see still many people coming in. OAG2016.nl. Are you ready? All right, I see most of you already. Then we will start with the first votes. You have 15 seconds time to vote, to cast your vote for Duo Deka. Countdown in 3, 2, 1, go. Here you go, shake your phone if you like them, shake that. Yes, shake it a little bit more hard for Duo Deka. Very good. This is going great. Oh, I see some very active people. I think that's like family or something like that. Time's up, time's up, time's up. All right. The idea is clear, right? Okay. So, if you like jam better than Duo Deka, shake your phone a bit harder. If you like them a bit less, you just shake a little bit less. That's the idea. We will cast your vote in 3, 2, 1. Here we go. 15 seconds. We see Timothy is a top supporter. Michiel, Marieke, Edward van der Pol loves them. Marielle is on top, so we see also who is loving you the most. Timothy wins, I guess. And time's up again. Yeah, it's a brilliant idea, this. I'm very happy we did this. I will never get that token of appreciation Eric got. It's, last but not least, we will go to Scribber, the final vote in 3, 2, 1. Here we go, 15 seconds. Gitta loves you, Tom loves you, Nicolas loves you. And time's up. Wow. Well, that's it. We cannot do anything else, so we've casted our votes. Now it's just time to go to the results and, of course, to give you a huge prize and some round of applause for your efforts, of course. Let's start with that. A round of applause for those 3 student initiatives. And Mr. Becking, I would love to invite you to the stage, together with Luc. Please stay here, Luc. So what did you think of those 3 nominees?
Amazing.
Why? Why? We need
they are so highly entrepreneurial. Yeah. Now, I think it's great that they're doing this next to their studies and be so creative and entrepreneurial, and they do so many things at the same time. So that's impressive to me.
I totally agree. It's great that they are here, and I think those are 3 rightful nominees. Shall we have a look at the results? Yeah, maybe it's good that we get the prizes up here. Normally this would be like a time that we should go to the commercials or something, or, you know, but... yeah. Oh yeah, Erik, I need you as well, because we actually printed the award. We printed the award, and Erik is it done? It's not done yet. Then maybe we should go to the commercial break, then we have some time. But I think you have one covered, right? We have the, is it this one?
Right. Well, within the time frame, it would have been too small anyway.
Yeah.
So it would have been too small anyway. So we want to have a good and a good sizable prize. So we printed it tonight, last night, I mean. So, here we go.
And it's a beautiful thing, actually. And it's the first of many, I hope. How long does it take to print something like this?
Well, I decided that it should take about 12 hours.
You decided, and what did the printer say?
It agreed.
It agreed that it was... Oh, that's a great printer. Yeah, cool. We will have a look at who's the winner of this competition. And I will show you. The votes have been cast. And the winner of the Best Student Entrepreneurship Initiative is, let's see, pitch 1, pitch 2. Oh, Scribble won the Best Entrepreneurship Student Initiative 2016. Close call. Close call. Yeah, let's make one picture with everybody on stage. Can I get one round of applause once more for all the initiatives? Don't forget this one, because we have 2 VIP tickets for you to the Cantus. You have to hurry. That means free beer for tonight, yes. Please take your seat, and thank you for, and keep up the good work, guys. Thanks a lot. One round of applause for all the nominees.
And can I please ask, Minister, can I please ask you to come back on stage to thank you? Because we have this small social sofa.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of this very nice ceremony. I think we had an excellent part at the beginning with 2 excellent speeches, and that we had a very entertaining second part, showing the entrepreneurship of this university and the spirit that we have with the many students and their developments. The only thing I was thinking of that lacks is a female entrepreneur, so I hope we'll have it. So ladies, consider this as a challenge. And we will see you next year on stage. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of this ceremony. It's time to have drinks and to talk to each other. We will do that outside this hall. I would like to kindly ask you to give the cortege the opportunity to leave the hall first. And then I would like to close the ceremony with a little prayer. And to that end, I would like to ask you to stand up. May we be filled with the breath of life, which will guide us towards the wisdom and knowledge to heal that which seems incurable and to accomplish that which seems to be impossible. Thank you for being here.